Greetings. I see you've made your way past enemy lines to the dark outpost. Welcome, Patriots. I'm David Zubelik, your host on this excursion to the darkest outposts of the human mind and beyond. Thank you for being with us once again. We appreciate it. We have a great show coming up for you today. In a moment, a bombshell breaking news story about Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's been arrested, and he is currently being interred at Guantanamo Bay, anticipating being transferred to Tierra del Fuego to face a military tribunal for high crimes and misdemeanors. We will get to that a little bit later on in the broadcast. Ryushin Sean Malone will be joining us, author of The Orion Lines. His website talks about UFOs, UAPs, alien contact, demonic entities. He's going to be with us as we are in the middle of what is supposed to be Revelation Week, Disclosure Week, with the United States government supposedly is going to finally release once and for all important information about UFOs and UAPs. We'll talk with Ryushin Sean Malone in the next hour. And then Michelle Stefanik will join us in the third hour and fourth hours of the program today to talk about, well, a major conspiracy involving our government's complicitness in the African embassy bombing, Benghazi, the 9/11 attacks, and much, much more. Michelle Stefanik has been exposing this. She's written a book about it, but that book is not scheduled to be published until after the first of the year, and she wants to make sure that that information gets out. We'll talk with Michelle Stefanik in a couple of hours. That is our agenda for today, and we will get to all of that in just a moment. Before we do any of that, let us do as we do each and every day at this time and honor our nation and its flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right, we've got some major breaking news coming up in just a moment. Before we get to any of that, however, I want to tell you about something interesting. A new article by Forbes magazine reveals that over 1 million burglaries occur in the United States each year. 1 million. For example, 1.7 million homes were broken into in 2017 alone. Now, that's the last year for which statistics are available, the most recent year. The article also states that by using predictive analysis, a shocking 75% of U.S. homes will be broken into by a burglar within the next 20 years, regardless of the neighborhood that you live in. Now, that's why I highly recommend a great product called solar lights. I want to show you some of these lights. I think you're going to find them fascinating. Take a look at this. These lights can be put anywhere. They can be put absolutely anywhere. They can be put on your garage. They can be put on your back porch. They can be put on your deck, okay? These solar lights are ultra bright, motion detecting floodlights for your home. These security lights brighten the dark spots around your house. Since brightly lit houses have been proven to prevent burglaries, having these installed around your yard is one of the best things you can do for your safety. And they take as little as 30 seconds to install because there's no wires or wall outlets required. Night solar lights are powered entirely by solar technology. I have about a dozen installed around my home. Now, Father's Day was a couple of days ago, and you probably got Dad something, maybe a tie, maybe a coffee mug, that sort of thing. But how about protecting Dad's home? If you missed Father's Day, it's still not too late to go to nightsolarlight.com or visit the link in the description of this video and get 52% off. These are ultra bright floodlights with motion detection. They light up all the dark spots in your yard. They're completely wireless. They install anywhere. The solar powered with high powered battery storage pack technology means you never have to worry about buying batteries. You can switch between the floodlight with motion detection for security or the entertainment light for the patio and barbecue with just the click of a button. You can save 52% for a limited time. There's free shipping on all orders. Look, you can light up your yard the way you've always wanted. Now, this is a special offer. It's not available anyplace else but to my viewers, and there are a limited quantity of these lights available. They're the perfect solution for anyone that wants safety and convenience of high-powered floodlights without the expense of professional installation. And there is a 30-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. So please, don't waste time. Go to nightsolarlight.com today. That's nightsolarlight.com. All right, we've got some major breaking news for you. Nobody else has got this, but we have it for you. It is a Dark Outpost exclusive. Let's go to the Dark Outpost News Center right now. All right, folks. Dark Outpost has learned exclusively that Dr. Anthony Fauci, the embattled head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, was arrested at the beginning of this month, June the 1st, at his home in Washington, D.C. by Navy SEALs operating on the direct orders of President Donald Trump as Fauci was preparing to flee the United States in the wake of the revelation of damning emails which suggest the doctor was involved in the creation of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Heavily packed suitcases were at his front door, apparently in anticipation of a limousine which was scheduled to transport Fauci to a private airstrip where Fauci was to board a plane, which the manifest has indicated was headed for one of Fauci's 3 properties in the United Kingdom, Argentina, and Panama. The manifest indicated Panama was the destination of his flight. Now, as we have reported previously on this program, folks, Fauci, who is certainly, he's pretty well off, he's not a pauper by any stretch, has netted at least $9 million from COVID-19 vaccination sales, and a substantial part of that illicitly earned income went toward the purchase of overseas properties. Okay? Now, all of these properties were purchased in his wife's name, Christine Grady, via Sotheby's International Realty Agency, which brokers transcontinental deals for the, well-to-do, the rich and the powerful folks. Curiously, all 3 of these parcels were bought in the first quarter of this year, 2021, after news of Fauci's impending indictment began circulating among alternative news outlets. Sources involved in Trump's efforts to bring the deep state to justice told Dark Outpost that the military had delayed arresting Fauci due to his current degree of, public exposure, appearing almost hourly on syndicated mainstream media broadcasts. Like many of his plandemic co-conspirators, Fauci gives interviews, pretty much regularly, many times from his home in what appears to be a home office inside his Northwest Washington, D.C. townhouse. However, Fauci's official residence went dark early in February, according to military sources who had the residence under constant surveillance. That's what we're told. Now, our source said the deep state has obviously set the guy up with dens, made to look like his home where he broadcasts from. He apparently was not, up until recently, staying at that home. He went back to it when he prepared to pack to leave the country. Only one reason to do this, and that is because Fauci knew that his time was short. because when Fauci is in the public eye, which doesn't happen all too often except when he's appearing on the mainstream media outlets, he's always encircled by an entourage of Fauci fans, the people who fawn over him as if he's Jesus Christ. Now, you may have seen the lawn signs that the mainstream media is showing in front of Fauci's home by his neighbors who think the guy is a god. They think of him as the second coming. He's the greatest thing in the world. But what we're going to tell you, and what you've already come to realize on your own, folks, in many instances, is that this guy was the mastermind behind the COVID-19 pandemic. Absolutely no mistake about that. Now, asked why the military elected to arrest Fauci at this time, our source was quoted as saying the following: "All I can say is the military is making careful consideration now that they know, and that Donald Trump knows, that Fauci had properties overseas in other countries." Again, in Panama, in Argentina. All right. Those are two of the areas, and the United Kingdom. All right. Now, President Trump and the military perceived the purchases of these properties by Dr. Anthony Fauci as a harbinger of Fauci's desire to escape the impending military tribunal. We reported to you only a few weeks ago that the military was planning on making a move because they suspected that Fauci was going to attempt to flee the country. And apparently, that is exactly what he intended to do at this point. The charges against the deep state doctor are damning: mass medical malpractice resulting in the needless deaths of 500,000 Americans, not to mention treason and aiding and abetting the Chinese Communist Party. All right. Now, according to our source, Fauci thought he was, well, untouchable. He's not. If his family, and that means his daughters too, are complicit in this scheme, they will also face justice. The military knows Fauci had a hand in financing the lab from which the virus was let loose. They knew that his days were numbered. He apparently knew that his days were numbered, and that's why he was planning on fleeing the country, according to our source. Now, the United States Justice Department, on behalf of President Trump, finalized a sealed indictment naming Dr. Fauci as a traitor to America, according to a Washington, D.C. source familiar with this issue. The indictment charges Fauci with numerous high crimes and misdemeanors, many of which could see Fauci stripped of his medical license, although that may be irrelevant if he was planning on leaving the country. Maybe he was not planning on practicing medicine overseas. That was irrelevant. He'd already made over $9 million, and that's just the money that we know about. We don't know what other monies that he might have acquired. Again, the charges reportedly include treason, conspiring with the enemy, and fraud. Article 2, Section 4 of the United States Constitution states, quote, "The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors." While Fauci is neither a politician nor a government official in this case, he has worked for numerous administrations, both Republicans and Democrats alike. This is deep state stuff, and he's pretty much a career civil servant, and therefore can be charged with criminal malfeasance, as is outlined in Article 2, Section 4. Sources close to the Fauci probe said Trump became suspicious of Fauci's intentions after reading tweets linking the doctor to a deep state coup designed to cripple his re-election campaign at the time. These tweets alleged Fauci and none other than Barack Hussein Obama had orchestrated a hoax to tank the economy, spelling doom for the president, whose main presidential achievement obviously was fostering a huge economic resurgence. The tweets surmise the coronavirus is a pretext for stripping Americans of their rights and freedoms those that they hold dear, and that Fauci wanted to usher in a new world order that would abolish the United States Constitution and replace U.S. leaders with United Nations personnel. Fauci's fishy behavior at coronavirus press briefings further fueled Trump's suspicions. On March the 20th of 2020, Trump called the State Department the quote-unquote deep state department. You might remember that. Standing behind him, Fauci made a dismissive hand gesture, dropped his head, and of course, rubbed his forehead. Trump took it as a personal slight. Trump doesn't forgive or forget. We know that for a fact. He had his eyes on Fauci, and Fauci's actions helped confirm the president's suspicions, according to our source. Moreover, Fauci has made numerous appearances on CNN and MSNBC, and these are networks that often, as you know, criticize and continue to criticize, despite the fact that Trump is allegedly out of office right now, Trump's pandemic response endeavors. And Fauci has used his status as one of America's most notable physicians to directly contradict Donald Trump's messages. The tweets, combined with Fauci's radical conduct, prompted Trump to direct the Justice Department to investigate the Fauci-Obama connection. Investigators learned and apparently leaked data proving that in 2015, Obama instructed Fauci to authorize $3.5 million in donations to this Wuhan virology lab, Fox facility. Additionally, a wiretap on Fauci's phone and electronic devices revealed that the doctor and the disgraced former president have kept a close friendship going since Obama left office. And intercepted phone calls and emails show that Obama and Fauci had conspired to undermine Trump's authority by having Fauci give the president unsound medical advice in matters involving the pandemic. First, Fauci told Trump the virus was, nothing to worry about. That was Fauci's first response. Did you know that? But then he reversed course and warned Trump COVID-19 would entirely and utterly ravage the United States unless martial law-like steps were at once taken to curb the spread. All right? Fauci misrepresented facts and figures, and he artificially inflated the case fatality rate by instructing the Centers for Disease Control to label all respiratory distress-related deaths as COVID-19 fatalities, even if the person never received a COVID-19 test. Some examples transcend absurdity, all right? For example, in Queens, New York, a 23-year-old black male had been walking home from a convenience store when a car pulled up alongside him and his driver emptied a pistol magazine in his chest. 2 rounds struck the gentleman's chest, collapsing both lungs. Because he had breathing difficulty and was put on a ventilator prior to death 2 hours later, hospital staff said the coronavirus killed him. They did not perform a COVID-19 test. In Brooklyn, a 96-year-old diabetic woman with high blood pressure dropped dead when her heart stopped beating. The New York City Medical Examiner's Office listed the cause of death as coronavirus. The next day, New York added over 3,000 presumptive positives to the state's growing sum of COVID-19 fatalities. Trump's investigative team unearthed a trove of evidence that proves Dr. Fauci compelled the state to blame all inexact deaths since January on COVID-19. All right. In doing so, according to our source, they have amplified the death count. The more coronavirus deaths, the worse Trump looks, and the tighter restrictions get as more states continued to adopt martial law style statuses. Trump had had enough and decided he'd put the screws to Fauci once and for all. If all of the information so far that we've brought you is correct, and our source is very credible, and that this is the truth. Trump special prosecutor indicted Fauci, charging the deep state doctor with crimes under the Patriot Act and the 1917 Espionage Act, and he will be facing some serious medical and not only medical charges, but high crimes and misdemeanor charges in a military tribunal. All right, now we've got some more breaking news along with this, because this is going to absolutely blow your mind. But just to reiterate the beginning here, I want to put this on the screen so that you have it. Dark Outpost, again, has learned exclusively that Dr. Anthony Fauci, the embattled head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, was arrested at his home in Washington, D.C. by Navy SEALs operating on the direct orders of President Donald John Trump, as he was preparing to flee the country in a private jet to one of his properties in the United Kingdom, Panama, and Argentina. Dark Outpost has learned that where Fauci was going was Panama. All right? So that's you're up to speed on that. We have more. This is not the end of the story, because we have another blockbuster bit of information. Fauci's arrest comes on the heels of a bombshell report indicating that secret documents, and this was just breaking last night, and that's why we waited until this morning to bring this news to you. Secret documents reveal that the drug company Moderna sent the coronavirus vaccine to the University of North Carolina, or actually, let me correct that, North Carolina University. That's what it's called, North Carolina University, weeks before the outbreak of the alleged pandemic. They sent samples of their vaccine, Moderna did, to North Carolina University on December the 17th, before the pandemic even became a story and broke out here in the United States. What does that tell you? And we here at Dark Outpost have a copy of those documents, and we will be adding those documents to the bundle 2. So if you'd like to see them, this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this entire thing was a fraud. That the entire these are in stone, etched in stone documents that prove everything we've been saying along, including the fact that Fauci was involved. That Fauci was involved in the creation of the virus, the pandemic, this bioweapon, which was designed to create or release the use of a bigger biological weapon, namely the vaccines. And Moderna had the vaccines ready to go in December of 2019 before the pandemic even broke out. Have you got that? Do you understand what I'm saying right now? Okay. The confidentiality agreement states that providers Moderna, alongside the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the NIAID, run by Dr. Anthony Fauci, agreed to transfer mRNA coronavirus vaccine candidates for acceptance. Candidates for the acceptance as the vaccine, developed and jointly owned by the NIAID and Moderna, to recipients at, well, actually, we've got a little bit of, I don't know if it's North Carolina University or the University of North Carolina, but here it says on this report that I've got, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, they signed the agreement on the 12th of December of 2019, and I've got a copy of this. I want to. I'm going to make this available to you as part of the bundle too. You want these documents? They're PDFs. Okay. All you got to do is get a hold of the bundle 2, and we'll tell you how you can do that. And if you already have the bundle 2 and you just want the documents, go to darkoutpost.com. Scroll down the right side of the page till you come to the donate button. Make a donation of $10 or more. $10 or more. And email me a copy of the receipt for your donation to darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com, and just say Moderna. Put Moderna in the subject line. I'll send you the PDFs. The material transfer agreement was signed on December the 12th, 2019 by Ralph Barrick, PhD at the University. All right, so it is the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and then signed by Jacqueline Quay, Director of Licensing and Innovation Support at the University of North Carolina on December the 16th, 2019. The agreement was also signed by two representatives of the NIAID, one of whom was Amy F. Petrick, PhD, a technology transfer specialist who signed the agreement on December the 12th, 2019 at 8:05 a.m. This is the specific time. We've got the specific time. These documents are available for you to see. We have them. The other signatory was Barney Graham, MD, PhD, an investigator for the NIAID. However, this signature was not dated. All right? So you got that. Hang in there. The final signatories on the agreement were Sunny Himansu, Moderna's investigator, and Sean Ryan, Moderna's Deputy General Counsel. Both signatures were made on December the 17th of 2019. All of these signatures were made prior to any knowledge of the emergence of the novel coronavirus. It wasn't until December the 31st of 2019 that the World Health Organization became aware of an alleged cluster of viral pneumonia cases in Wuhan, China. But even at this point, they had not determined that an alleged new coronavirus was to blame, instead stating the pneumonia was of unknown cause. It was not until January the 9th of 2020 that the World Health Organization, reported Chinese authorities had determined the outbreak was due to a novel coronavirus, which later became known as SARS-CoV-2, with the resultant disease dubbed COVID-19. So, why was an mRNA coronavirus vaccine candidate developed by Moderna being transferred to the University of North Carolina, on December the 12th, 2019? There you go. Smoking gun, folks. And we just brought it to you here on the Dark Outpost. And we've got the documents to back it up. You want them? Get the bundle too. I'll tell you a little while how you can do that. Or if you just, it'll be added to the bundle too. But if you just want these sets of documents, go to darkoutpost.com, scroll on the right side of the page, do you come to the donate button, click that donate button, make a donation to us of $10 or more, all of which is going to go to Shared Hope International, an organization that we support, that's doing everything in their power to put an end to child sex trafficking here in the United States. And we will send you those documents. Just send your donation and then email me a copy of the receipt for that donation to darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com. Darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com. We will send you the smoking gun, which proves this thing was manufactured in advance. We also know that Dr. Anthony Fauci, in a speech in early January of 2017, had said that the next president of the United States, meaning Trump, who had just taken office, was going to face a pandemic, a virus that was going to be deadly. And by 2019, they had a vaccine ready to go for a virus that had not even yet been announced. Smoking gun, folks. And we just brought it to you. All right? Now, perhaps Moderna and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases will be able to explain themselves in a court of law. Perhaps Anthony Fauci will be able to explain himself at his upcoming military tribunal. He's under arrest. I've got more. American lawmakers had already introduced the Fire Fauci Act, with the intention to fire Fauci for misinformation with regards to COVID-19 and for covering up the origin of the virus. The Fire Fauci Act would have been brought his salary down to zero and requires Senate confirmation to fill his position. I've got information about who's currently taking his position. You're going to be shocked by that. That's coming up in just a couple of moments. All right? Before we do that, let me take a quick break and remind you about something else you might be interested in. If you suffer from, dementia, or you know someone that does, obviously if you're suffering from it, you might not be watching this program, but if you or someone you love is suffering from any of these interesting and very, very, very dangerous diseases, osteoporosis, Parkinson's disease, MS, multiple sclerosis. A lot of people have, unfortunately, multiple sclerosis. If you have, again, dementia, we've got a few more here, fibromyalgia, diabetes, I want you to call my good friend Paulette Britt at 704-579-0028, 704-579-0028. I've got her number scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. There was a major medical breakthrough in the treatment of these illnesses. They are not really, it's not really a treatment, but what it helps to do is to reduce the cause of these illnesses by helping your own body do something that it stops doing when we get past the age of 20. And only Paulette can tell you more about this. This is a major medical breakthrough, and people have found a tremendous amount of relief. So if you know someone who has certain cancers, fibromyalgia, MS, diabetes, Parkinson's, dementia, there's over 300 illnesses for which this one thing is a contributing factor, and this particular medical breakthrough helps you to reduce the problem that adds to these diseases. Paulette Britt would love to help you get some more information about this. She's not going to sell you anything. She's not going to push anything on you. She just wants to get this information absolutely free into your hand. So give her a call today, 704-579-0028, 704-579-0028, or you can email her. Her email address is Paulette, Paulette, B as in boy, M as in Mary, at AOL.com. Paulette, BM at AOL.com. But she really would rather talk to you, and if you call her and you get her voicemail, leave her a message, she will call you back. Again, 704-579-0028. All right, we've got more information for you on this major story today, an incredible story about Anthony Fauci's arrest and detention. Now, Dr. Fauci, in another major development, after over a year, Canadian authorities have released censored documents of deadly viruses stolen from Winnipeg to the Wuhan lab. A Great Game India was the first to report the Chinese espionage story in January of 2020, for which they are being actively targeted by NATO's war propaganda arm, the Atlantic Council. So they're the ones that broke that story. As to Dr. Fauci, he has been transported to Guantanamo Bay, where he's currently being held in maximum security at Camp Delta and is being interrogated. All right. Now, subsequent to Fauci's interrogation, he is expected to be moved to Tierra del Fuego, where he will face a military tribunal with his cohort, Dr. Deborah Birx. Birx was arrested back in May after authenticating reports that she and her partner in crime, Fauci, had conspired with the Centers for Disease Control to deceive the American public into believing that face masks were an effective method to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. As reported in February, Birx's name was placed on a sealed indictment after President Donald Trump obtained a lengthy email chain between her and Dr. Fauci. In it, Birx and Fauci discussed whether face masks mitigated the spread of COVID-19, and they admitted to one another that masks were completely ineffective at preventing COVID-19 from entering the human respiratory system. To the contrary, they acknowledged that protracted masking had serious side effects on human physiology, especially among the children, the elderly, and the immunocompromised people. Nonetheless, Birx wrote in an email to Fauci that regardless of POTUS's stance, we, quote, must continue to encourage and enforce masking because it will give people a sense of calm and make them feel safe. That illusion of safety was a major contributing factor in the deaths of 15,000 Americans, according to a military study that evaluated all alleged COVID-19 fatalities in the United States. For example, let me give you some examples. A masked 13-year-old boy suddenly dropped dead while playing football in 90-degree heat in Reno, Nevada. Turned out he was asthmatic, but had never received a clinical diagnosis of asthma. His mother, a mask advocate, had heard Dr. Birx say on television that outdoor activities did not preclude wearing a mask when social distancing was impossible. Since football is a contact sport, she feared her child might contract COVID-19 from another non-masked child, and thus demanded her son mask up anytime he was around other children. Her irrational fear, coupled with Birx's hysteria, resulted in the boy's death. Incidentally, the CDC claimed he died of COVID-19, even though the boy had never received a COVID-19 test. Another example, a 26-year-old Long Island woman died after a short battle with methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, more commonly known as MRSA or MRSA, a type of flesh-eating bacteria that is highly resistant to most antibiotics. She developed the illness, which attacked her face, days after her employer, citing CDC guidelines, imposed a mask mandate. The bacteria literally ate her face, leaving her unrecognizable. She expired 3 days later, and the CDC listed her cause of death as COVID-19. Those are only two of over 15,000 evaluated cases. This is why Deborah Birx is being charged. She's complicit in those deaths, as is Dr. Anthony Fauci. All right. Now, a confidential source involved in Donald J. Trump's deep state war said, quote, along with Fauci, who will soon be apprehended as well, and now we know that he had been, the United States Navy Judge Advocate General's Corps is holding Birx responsible for all of the fatalities. It's mass medical malpractice and mass murder. They acted on their indictment and arrested Birx in May. On the 26th, plainclothes JAG investigators arrived at the multi-generational Pennsylvania home where Birx resides with her husband and the family of their eldest daughter. JAG, according to our source, informed Birx she was being placed under arrest by order of the United States military in accordance with Section 252 of the United States Insurrection Act of 1807. Birx reportedly appeared confused, and her husband, a lawyer, protested the unlawful intrusion of their home, saying that neither JAG nor Donald Trump had authority over the citizenry. Birx was handcuffed and escorted from the home. Her family was issued a gag order forbidding them from discussing Birx's arrest with the media. Violating the order, according to JAG, would carry a stiff penalty, including prison. Birx is currently interred at Tierra del Fuego, awaiting the arrival of Dr. Fauci for a military tribunal with other co-conspirators from Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca. Now, are you ready for another bombshell? If this isn't enough, wait for this. You've heard of the Delta variant, this alleged new strain of COVID-19, which is supposed to be even more highly infectious. and threatens to shut down a country that is currently in the process of reopening after this nightmare of over a year and a half. We here at Dark Outpost have learned also that the so-called Delta variant, this supposed new and more dangerous strain of the COVID-19 virus, was timed to be released as a dead man's switch in the event of Fauci's impending arrest, which now has occurred, and internment at Guantanamo Bay, and the Delta variant is named after Camp Delta, where Fauci is currently being held. All right, so in other words, the Delta variant, this new version of the bioweapon, currently is a dead man switch, designed to, it's designed to be released in the event that he was arrested. Dark Outpost has also learned that the phony Biden regime was made aware of Fauci's arrest. So Biden and Kamala Harris are aware of this, and I want to put something up on the screen for you in just a moment if I can find it. This is going to blow your mind as well. I have it, and I do. Here it is. You want to see who's replacing Dr. Fauci while he's being held at Camp Delta? All right. Take a look at this. You got it. It's a Dr. Fauci lookalike, a Dr. Fauci double. The only difference is the length of the nose. The guy on the left is Dr. Anthony Fauci. The guy on the right is a doppelganger, a lookalike who has taken Dr. Fauci's face. All right? He resembles Dr. Fauci with the exception of an elongated nose. The administration, aware of Fauci's arrest, before it happened, they were told it was happening, and tribunal had planned on easing him out of the limelight over the course of the summer anyway, until his ultimate resignation. And that is the story. You are up to speed. Dr. Anthony Fauci, you will not even note that Dr. Fauci has been arrested because he has been replaced with a doppelganger. He has been replaced with a lookalike. And absolutely incredible, folks. All right? You're up to speed. The United States Justice Department, on behalf of President Trump, had finalized a sealed indictment naming Dr. Fauci as a traitor to America, according to a Washington source familiar with the issue. There it is. There it is. So what do you think? That's what's going on, folks. That is the absolute latest on Dr. Anthony Fauci. All right, let's head on over to the Dark Outpost newsroom for some other stories making news on this, Tuesday. Getting back to the coronavirus, why not? Canadian health officials admit that only those vaccinated for the flu are getting the flu this year. And this is from Brian Schulhavy at healthimpactnews.com. In a report by the CBC in Canada, government health officials are saying that they have not found a single case of seasonal flu this year. Health officials in British Columbia have not detected a single case of influenza circulating in the community since flu season began, continuing an exceptional nationwide trend, even as the province sits in the thick of its regular flu season. The BC Centre of Disease Control confirmed the non-existent seasonal flu numbers to CBC News on Monday. Dr. Danuta Skowronski, the head of influenza and emergency respiratory virus monitoring at the BC CDC, said it's still a big goose egg in terms of influenza detection provincially. It's really quite exceptional how low the influenza activity is. I've been on the influenza beat for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like it, and that is not for lack of trying. But you also will see that they have actually tested some people positive for the influenza via nasal swabs, those who were injected with the live attenuated influenza vaccine. The BC CDC has tested 30,000 samples of influenza this year, for influenza this year. Only a dozen of those tests came back positive, and all were linked to people who'd received a vaccine, which doesn't count as community spread. By comparison, the center found 861 positive tests last year, with roughly 1/3 of the testing. What does this tell you, folks? What it tells me is that we are living in the biggest, I got to tell you, the biggest psyop in the history of the United States and Canada and Europe and Asia and Africa. Folks, we have been had. We have been had big time. And we've got the smoking gun today with these emails indicating that Moderna sent samples of its coronavirus vaccine to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in December of 2019, before the virus even allegedly broke out. And now we're finding out that this new strain of the alleged COVID-19 virus, the Delta strain, the Delta variant, is named after the place where Anthony Fauci is currently being held, because he was freaking arrested, all right, and taken away on June the 1st. And he is going to be headed over to Tierra del Fuego to be tried in a military tribunal with Dr. Deborah Birx. Wow. And you got a phony doppelganger taking his place for now, but you're going to see him eased out. But you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between these two guys. You can see it. Once again, here it is. Anthony Fauci on the left and the look-alike on the right. Variation in the looks of the ears. The nose is elongated. Also does not have the dimple. Most people, it's going to go right past them. It's going to go right. They're not even going to notice this, folks. They are not even going to see that this is what's going on. You should be appalled by this, folks. New survey indicates the majority of physicians are declining COVID shots. Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Let's see what else. Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 injections hijack your cells' ribosomes and turn out toxic proteins that attack your body. How about that, folks? What do you think about that? Folks, we have been had big time. Big time. And we fell for it, didn't we? We really fell for this. Other stories making news. Marco Rubio claims China may be developing the next great pandemic. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Probably got more money from the NIAID and Fauci. That'll all come out at his military tribunal. Let's see. Tucker Carlson, white supremacists are not the ones carrying out the violence on our streets. Well, we know that. Mysterious spirals appearing in the skies over the Pacific. We're going to ask Ryushin Sean Malone about that in about 10 minutes. What else? U.S. trans athlete. My goal is to win the Olympics so I can burn the U.S. flag on the podium. President Trump. I have never admitted defeat. I have not conceded. He has not conceded. Well, that's because he's coming back, folks. And this is just the beginning of it. He's coming back by August. This is just the beginning of it. With Fauci's arrest and the upcoming military tribunal for him and Birx, he's coming back. UK vaccine passports being reviewed again to keep pubs and restaurants open if COVID cases surge. And the UK prepares plans for autumn booster jabs against COVID-19. Well, okay. Wow. Just incredible, folks. Absolutely incredible. All right. Okay. Let's see. What else have we got here? I want to send that off to... all right. Now, folks, if you're watching this live on Rumble right now, You're going to get to hear the remaining portion of the program, the next 3 hours. We got a lot more content coming your way next here on Dark Outpost, beginning with Ryush and Sean Malone, and later with Michelle Stefanik. All right? Now, if you are not a member of the Dark Outpost Inner Circle, however, after this show is over, the first hour or so is going to be posted on Rumble and BitChute. But the rest of it, you're not going to be able to see it. You want to see it? You got to become a Dark Outpost Inner Circle member. What is the Inner Circle? Well, it's a premium site where you get all 4 hours of the program archived every day, Monday through Friday, with content that you're not going to get anyplace else. Content like this. Hey, just head on over to darkoutpost.tv. Sign up for a 1-year subscription. It's only $29.99 for a 1-year membership. And that gets you access to things you are not going to find anyplace else. And then if you will email me a copy of the receipt for that 1-year subscription, email it to darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com. That's darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com. In return, I will send you back via email in PDF format in the form of a zip file, either the Bundle Plus or the Bundle 2. Now, what are the differences? The Bundle Plus is 25 reports on the scourge of pedophilia and child sex trafficking taking place here in the United States and around the world. We have reports on the Clintons, the Podestas, the Bush Pedogate Empire. We have reports on the business community, people like Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We have reports on the military-industrial complex, Michael Aquino and John Brennan. We have reports on the entertainment industry, like the Disney Pedogate Empire. We have reports on every denomination of Christianity and other religions, including the Roman Catholic Church. We have reports on how you can protect your children from predators, both online and in society. And we also have the military tribunal transcript summaries from Hillary Clinton's military tribunal, which took place between the 13th and the 17th of December in 2018, prior to her execution on December the 31st. Or you can request the Bundle 2. The Bundle 2 consists of a complete Pedogate 2020 update, everything that occurred in 2020, the millions of children that were rescued from underground tunnels, the thousands of people that were arrested for harming these children. We have reports on the location of the deep underground bases where these children were being held. We have reports on doppelgangers and lookalikes. We have reports on the Black Eye Club. The Black Eye Club. How do you become a member of the Black Eye Club? You can find out. We just added some new documents to the Gitmo list. You might want to have that as well. And of course, the Gitmo list is the biggest attraction of the Bundle 2. Everyone that's been arrested, taken to Guantanamo Bay, tried, convicted, and either serving a life in prison or executed for their crimes. All right? So you can get that as part of the Bundle 2. All you have to do is go to darkoutpost.tv, sign up for a 1-year membership. It's only $29.99. Email me a copy of the receipt for that subscription to Dark Outpost Documents at gmail.com. That's darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com. And in return, I'll send you back the Bundle 2 or the Bundle Plus. All you have to do is in the subject line, tell me which of the two bundles you want, either the original Bundle Plus or the bundle too, and we'll get those off to you within about 3 to 5 days. Okay, we'll get it right to your inbox. Make sure you check your spam folder if it's been over 5 days since you requested those documents. Okay, all right, that sounds good. Now, again, for those of you watching this live, you're going to get to see the remainder of the program. We are going to take a quick 4-minute break. When we come back, Ryushin Sean Malone will be with us. We're going to talk about the Orion lines. We're going to do that with him. Very timely because of the fact that it is the week of, well, you know, disclosure. We're supposed to get some real information, but I'll tell you something. Ryushin Sean Malone, he has got the facts, and we are delighted to have him with us. We'll be back in about 4 minutes with him. Stick around as Dark Outpost continues in just a few minutes. And joining us now is Ryushin Sean Malone of the OrionLines.com. Ryushin, thanks for coming back. I had to have you back on during Disclosure Week because your news is so credible and so important that I wanted to do that. And I'm going to make an executive decision here today, folks. We're going to include Sean's interview in the free portion of the broadcast that is broadcast after the first hour. Because I want to get as much publicity out there as possible. And I told Ryushin I would do that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that after. So welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much for having me again.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Some people might have missed it, and because this is Disclosure Week when the government is supposed to come out with something, I wanted to go over step by step what you discovered, and it's an amazing discovery, very credible information. You've got all kinds of stuff to back it up. Let's let our viewers know what you found.
Well, it's extremely complicated, and it's not going to be easy to understand because everything that we've been told has been a lie. And you know, when I got into the whole extraterrestrial research about 4 years ago, it led me straight into politics and religion.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that there is a satanic side and there is a positive side. a Catholic side, a God, Jesus side. And from my research, they happen to be aliens. Now, you can, I know what that sounds like, and I know it's going to be hard to believe, but with all the evidence that I've gone through, maybe this is why they call it revelation. So,
well, I was as skeptical as the next person until the first time you came on this program. You blew us away with what you have. I mean, and I know that we don't have the 2 hours that we had. I know we only have an hour, but this is important. People need to know about this, and a lot of the other people didn't see that first broadcast because it was not being put on the public side. But I'm going to let it go out there because this is too important.
So basically, once I knew it was aliens, it allowed me to really discover so many things that no one else noticed, because they weren't aware that the whole political and religious thing were aliens. So, and the entire history, our entire history has been based off of extraterrestrial contact.
Yeah.
And that politics and religion happen to be from extraterrestrial contact, as well as the secret societies. All extraterrestrial contact that they've been keeping secret from us, because we were almost taken over by aliens and enslaved and most of us harvested, but the rest of us enslaved. That almost happened, because for a very long for our existence, for a very long time, we have been living in something they call night first, keeping humanity in the dark, because they've secretly been ruling over humanity, especially this Orion group. Can I share the screen?
You sure can. Let's do it. And so you have the floor.
Thank you so much. So please bear with me. Is that working?
It is. Here we go.
Okay, great. Please bear with me. Make your mind like a blank slate.
And that's what you have to do, folks. Ryushin is 100% correct. You open your mind to the possibilities of what he's about to tell you, because it's going to blow your mind.
That's what I had to do in order to figure this all out. I had to forget everything I was taught, everything that was taught, brought to me, and I had to go through this thing because it was so full of disinformation. And I'll explain to you why it's been so diluted and manipulated and distorted, and people are running around saying, oh, there's a fake alien invasion, and I'm running around saying, well, it was a real one, and now it's going to be a fake one. And I'll explain everything to you. Basically, this is my website, theorionlines.com, and what I had done was, when I started the research, I printed out the map of the Nazca lines and solved them, and realized that, hey, they're actually a 3-dimensional star map of somebody called the Orion Group's territory markings. Now, when I looked up the Orion Group, it said that they were a satanic force who takes over star systems. Well, that's very interesting, because I do have evidence of the Satan worshipers, some of the known Satan worshipers like Marilyn Manson, or the lead singer of Tool, Maynard Keenan, coming out saying, prepare, never-ending astral vampires. And I'm like, hey, you guys knew about the real alien invasion, and they were just about to take over. It's extremely complex, but basically, I've revealed the aliens from Orion. This is to tell other extraterrestrials whose planet this is. Okay, so when other extraterrestrials get here, they scan the surface and they go, oh, hey, this is already somebody's territory. Now, these lines span for 132 miles across the desert floor in Peru. They are incorporated with pictograms of birds. There's an alien in it, one of them. There's a tree, animals like spiders, monkeys. And what I realized is that the Aborigines, when they showed up and saw the lines in the desert, they thought that God had drawn a picture for them that they couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
So what did the humans do? They drew pictures back. That's what they were doing. That's why there are animals and those things incorporated in the lines, because the silly humans didn't realize that these were actually territory markings, not a picture. Well, a picture, but not in what they thought. They didn't know what this thing was. Basically, I exposed the satanic side of the alien, the whole alien system. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is my other page with the aliens. And I've been going through all the evidence, collecting, going through each video and picture that I could possibly find and asking myself objectively, are these real? And I can absolutely say that every single one of these beings in this picture here is absolutely real.
Yeah.
So not only are there one type of extraterrestrial, but there's several. If I can find 15 different types of extraterrestrial species visiting Earth, that means there's as many different species as there are stars in the sky. Okay? The universe is full of extraterrestrial life. Now, so this is under aliens on my website, theorionlines.com. It has all the aliens. I've been sitting here, I've been matching the extraterrestrials to even King Akhenaten. As you can see, these are the Nazca alien mummies. And then there they are sitting with King Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti. And here's one that was recently found in Russia in the snow. Now, these tiny, the NASA calls them tiny super intelligent extraterrestrial beings. They were also found with another species, a second species in the Nazca Peru desert in 2016. Now, these were released through Gaia TV in 2017, and it's been 4 years. Haven't heard from anybody. Now, it's very difficult to accept, but these beings were called Aten, and they were known as the sun god. And I believe they call them the sun god because of their vehicles look like miniature suns.
Right.
Now, they were also known as the one true God. And I believe they are possibly our creator, our God, the ones who created us. I know that's very difficult to hear, but after all the evidence that I've gone through, it seems possible. It's possible, okay? Because what's been going on here is that secretly we've been in the middle of an extraterrestrial war over humanity and the destiny of humanity. That's what's really been going on. Also, I have UFOs that go on and on and on. This is the sun vehicles. They look like miniature suns. The UFOs that I have here, it goes on and on and on. I have so much evidence. It's very disturbing.
And I highly recommend people go to your website, theorionlines.com. Folks, I've got it scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Please go to his website. It's very important that you see what he's got here.
So this is my book here. It's for free. You just click on it and it opens right up. Okay. And I'm going to go through my book very quickly. Unfortunately, there's just so much information, so many discoveries that I have made. So by printing this map out and circling the 3 main points, intersecting points, I realized that it was Orion. I thought at first it was Orion's belt, and then it took me about 8 months to a year to realize that it was actually a 3-dimensional star map. Now, the Orion group is known as a satanic force. NASA knew that it was a pulsar. That the NASA knew, and the elite knew all about this map. And the reason why half of it's in the light and half of it's in the dark is because of the balance, good and evil, which there really is no such thing, because we are both good and evil. There's no separation. It's only a dogmatic view. And it's very complicated. Basically, this Orion group has been coming here for thousands of years. They showed up here and they demanded sacrifices being made, human sacrifices for them to eat, because they're actually a group of adrenochrome harvesters. Now, they taught these elite and these people all throughout the world this adrenochrome, and that human sacrifice was great, and they wanted it, and child rape and all this crazy stuff. And that's the origin of that satanic group.
Yeah.
Now, they have been at war with the other group, who is our creators. They created Jesus. Now what happened in the elite in America is they got together and agreed upon a balance between them and the elite,
right,
and keeping humanity completely in the dark. They had no idea about the aliens, so best not to tell them about it. And they built the entire structure of America based off of their religion. One worshiping these aliens from Orion, who were a bunch of adrenochrome harvesters, nasty beings. And the other group, this group who created us and has been helping humanity, like giving humanity electricity with Ben Franklin, or showing Tesla all of their technology back in the 1800s. I know it's hard to hear, but it's true. Absolutely true. So those two groups got together and agreed upon working together in a balance in order to rule over humanity. And it wasn't until we finally collected all the evidence to say, okay, what's going on here? Why are these people raping children? Why is there adrenochrome? What is this Orion group? But now that we have all the evidence, it's quite clear what's been going on here. So the pyramids in Egypt align to Orion. And because of the Orion lines, which is what I renamed the Nazca lines, because this way would be, if this is up here, and this is how the aliens perceive bottom, then there is a correct orientation to the Milky Way galaxy, because this would be the top here, and this would be the bottom. So this is the top of our galaxy, the true top. It's the correct orientation, I figured out.
All right.
The symbol of our sun comes from their map. This is a blurb of the Alpha Draconian and the Orion group. And the Orion group is a negative aspect of ego. They're also known as the Black Suns. They've secretly been ruling here for thousands of years in the dark. And the elite have been worshiping them and working for them. And they were setting us up for an alien invasion, which almost happened. We were almost all harvested.
The military stepped in at the last minute, if I recall.
Yes, the military stepped in at the last minute and double-crossed them right in the final act. They were just about to come out and grab everybody. So this is a pulsar known as the star compass in Hawaii. And I was like, hey, that's very close to Rigel in the Nazca lines. And the reason why it's very close and not exact is because that stars move. Okay, stars move. So
And a lot of people don't know that. They think that planets
Yeah.
always revolve around the stars and that the stars themselves don't move, but you showed that they do.
Yeah, stars move. Of course they do. So this is Stonehenge in America, in Salem, New Hampshire. And this is also, they thought it was aligning to, whatever they have here, equinox, sunset, November 1st, sunset, May Day. And it's not. It's actually a pulsar. Pulsar, just like this. Just like the Nazca lines are. The Nazca lines are a pulsar, like the pulsar of our sun on the golden record of Voyager spacecraft that was launched in the early 70s. Well, if NASA knew this, they knew what the Nazca lines were. They already solved it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were waiting for me to come along to reveal to the world the truth. This is not our world. This world has been ruled by Orion. Now, I know it's very, very complicated. So the Stonehenge aligns to Orion. There's Orion at Stonehenge. And what I realized is hey, when the sun fell between the heel stone, heal like heal your dog.
Exactly.
Heal humanity. I believe that night the aliens would show up and they would be given offerings of human sacrifices performed on the slaughter stone. And I realized that Stonehenge was nothing more than an adrenochrome harvest clock, where they
and it looks like a clock. It acts like a sundial.
Yeah, they would get together and they would give the aliens sacrifices to eat. And meanwhile, the aliens are just running around all over the planet doing this. This is another location in England, and there it is. There's Orion again. And they were probably doing the same thing there. Actually, I'm pretty sure. And I have information regarding finding all of these people buried there who were foreigners. And it was not just the elite who were buried there, but that's what these people were doing. That's what the elite were doing. There's also something called a first night, which is where these English lords would steal a wife before her wedding night to rape her.
Mm.
And that's what they were doing. They were doing this whole satanic thing. So the whole Halloween thing, yeah, don't practice that anymore. That's all satanic. That's all their satanic nightmare bullshit that stems from this extraterrestrial contact with these nasty extraterrestrials who were showing up here going, give me something to eat. And these people were obliging because they didn't know what they were. They thought they were gods. That's what they called them, God.
Now, I'm looking at these crop circles here off to the lower right.
They're not crop circles.
They're not. Okay.
These are structures that were made by the extraterrestrials. This is just another spot located in England called the Thornburrows Hedges.
Okay.
They're also in the shape of Orion.
Okay.
This is in Germany, also in the shape of Orion's belt, where this I realized, yesterday? 2 days ago. When I read an article regarding, hey, the Germany Stonehenge found a lot of weird and twisted things happening there. And when I read the article, I read that there were people found bound and men, women, and children there that were all terribly killed. And then they were adrenochrome harvested. And I was like, I went to the map and I went and I looked it up and there it is, Orion. I knew it. I knew it as soon as I read it, that they were all being tortured and all this. And so, yeah, when I went to go look it up, it's in the shape of Orion. That I did a few days ago. So it's continuously moving, and you can do this at home. Look for Orion. That's who the Illuminati and the Freemasons have been worshiping this whole time. These extraterrestrials from Orion. So I'm going to skip past this stuff. What I believe is going on with the pyramids is that they're using the water. They were using the Nile River in some way. It was just a hypothesis to suggest that they were doing hydronium, creating hydronium. But I'm going to skip past that because there's just so much little time, so much information.
Sure.
So I found the Orion carved into the earth in Hawaii. Now, I've also found that these mounds in Hawaii are almost identical to the Great Pyramids in Egypt. I'm pretty sure that they were pyramids. There is Orion in the Grand Canyon, and it's alleged that there was Egyptian stuff found in the Grand Canyon. Orion aligns to the Hopi, the Native American Hopi in the northeast part of Arizona. So Orion is everywhere. Orion is at the Vatican, right next to the Vatican. So these elite and the religious and the politics and the elite knew all about the extraterrestrials. So this is why they built all their things. This was on a History Channel on the obelisks in Central Park, in Worth Square, in St. Paul's Chapel. They've all been worshiping these aliens from Orion. And they put these things here to let the aliens know they're welcome here to come and do whatever they want, enslave humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been coming into people's homes and taking people and eating human beings. Some of them have been eating us.
Yeah.
We were almost about to be invaded by these extraterrestrials from Orion. But thank God for people in the military prevented it from happening. This is the deep state. Ladies and gentlemen, the deep state have been worshiping extraterrestrials from Orion who've been coming here for thousands of years, torturing human beings, eating children. And this is the whole Moloch, the whole giving of the first child born. That's all the extraterrestrials. That's what they've all been doing. This is 9/11. This is the World Trade Center.
Yep.
And they knocked down these two, and it's very interesting because the Freedom Tower is actually where the alleged bad aliens come from, Mintaka, which is very interesting that they knocked down those two towers.
Look at what Ryushin has uncovered here. Look at the patterns here, folks.
This one wasn't by me. I do have connections. But I had to use this as evidence. It's clear.
Right.
Whoever figured this out was true. Now, I went through my book totally honestly about every single thing because I knew how important solving the Nazca lines actually was. So in all of my work, I had to tell the truth about everything.
Right.
I could not make up anything. This is the History Channel. This was somebody by the name of Mika Klan who won't get in touch with me. I don't know if this is correct or not, but I'm pretty sure it is. But still, this was a History Channel, and this was somebody else, Lee Breaker. But I had to use this because it's all ties in. It's all the evidence against the true rulers of humanity. So this was me. And I put everything that I figured out right here. So if I discovered it or I realized it, I put it all underneath the picture. But if it's not me, I would say who it came from or unknown because I didn't know. This was not me, but all these pyramids are Orion. So basically, we've been ruled by extraterrestrials from Orion. Now, do you know why, David, why they align to the stars?
No, no,
It's to represent for the other extraterrestrials who come flying by.
like a
They
map.
know where they're coming from.
Okay, so
That's what that
that's their
tells.
distinguishing mark.
Yes, that's what
And
tells them whose property this is. That's why they align to the stars. Here's pyramids found on Mars. They've been on Mars. And it looks like there was a war there because all of these are all flattened. So
yeah,
they've been fighting over each other. And what I realized is that with all the human sacrifice going on and all the adrenochrome, and when Pizzagate revealed all the elite doing all this adrenochrome, torturing children for their adrenochrome, I realized that, oh my God, what if they use the Jews to get the technology from these aliens? And I hypothesized that why just kill them when you can kill them and trade for technology? And about a year later, I realized, oh my God, the Nazi death marches, the pathways leading to the death camps were actually in the shape of Orion to honor Orion. And what happened in the United States is that they made the same deal in secret with the aliens from Orion. So they were doing the same exact. So not only did I solve the Nazca lines, which led me straight to World War II and solved World War II, but it also then led me to realize catch the United States government, the United States military, and the elite guilty of genocide.
Mm-hmm.
That no one knows about yet because they've been keeping me a secret. They've been ignoring me and my work for the past 4 years. But here's the evidence. And this one little piece of evidence right here, this one picture, will destroy the deep state. They've gone way too far. They've gone way too far. They were feeding, like Hugh says, many governments of the world feed the eye. And the eye is the all-seeing eye, which comes from Orion. And I'll show you how I figured that out. But here are the deep underground military bases. All these, the missing 411, they align nearly perfectly to these deep underground military bases. Basically, the aliens have been using our world as a hunting ground, and they've been hunting us and studying us and taking people for thousands of years. It's simple, really. Basically, we've been living right next door to adrenochrome harvesters who've been using humanity as cattle. But that's a big problem for us because now we're aware of it. Now we're aware of the aliens from Orion. So in 2020, there were earthquakes at nearly every location of the deep underground military bases. This told us many things. This told us that these deep underground military bases, the map was good. This also told us that there was probably something down there. What was down there? An invasion force. They were just about to come out and grab everybody. And here's more. There was one at Fort Irwin, and here's another one up at Yellowstone National Park, and it just goes on and on and on. There's earthquakes all over the world. Antarctica is rocked by earthquakes. I've realized that the Bermuda Triangle was actually the Orion Group's hunting ground. That's why they call it the Devil's Triangle.
I was going to ask you about that last time you were on, and I forgot. I'm glad you're bringing that up again.
And that's why the part of the point of the triangle is Epstein's Island.
Yeah.
Fantastic, huh? And this is where these people are actually going. And nobody warned us that the aliens were actually taking people. And this sits right on the line of Egypt, right through the middle of the Devil's Triangle or the Bermuda's Triangle, and right through the zone of silence in Mexico. They're hunting grounds. UFOs and missing people in the Alaska Triangle, they're hunting grounds. They've been hunting human beings. These are the Nazca alien mummies. There were about 7 extraterrestrials found in the Nazca Peru Desert in 2016, released on Gaia TV in 2017. And as soon as I saw the x-rays, I knew they were real.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that we were being lied to. So a week after they came out, which was almost exactly 4 years ago, I connected them to King Akhenaten. I realized that these tiny super intelligent extraterrestrials that stand about 2 and 2.5 feet tall were the same species sitting with King Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti. They were known as the one true God. Now, before King Akhenaten's rule, there were many gods. There were many gods that were being worshipped. But when King Akhenaten came into power, it was said that he got rid of all the gods and said that there was one true God, and his name was Aten. And they are the only extraterrestrial species ever depicted in their likeness. Then when King Akhenaten left, the rest of the gods came back. And that made sense because I knew that we were in an extraterrestrial war this whole time. Now, what they are extremely intelligent extraterrestrials with time travel. That's what's going on. That's how they knew Revelation.
So they do have the ability to travel through time.
Yes, that's how they knew that there was a revelation was going to happen now. And the whole star alignment, the woman with child, that was Virgo and Jupiter, with the crown of 12, that was Leo and a few planets, with the moon at her feet and the sun at her back. Well, when that star alignment happened, I knew that they had time travel. And it was the only thing that made sense because what I realized is that they abducted St. John, they brought him into the future and showed him a possible outcome, and then returned him back in time. Because how did a man 1,500 years ago know a 7,000-year-old star alignment? Because at that star alignment, the woman with the crown of 12, the moon at her feet, the sun at her back,
right,
only happens every 7,000 years. How did a man 1,500 years ago know that star alignment was going to happen? It's logic.
Yeah.
It's logic. So yeah, I believe they're God. And what happened was thousands of years before Egypt, there was Sumerian. And I found them all in Sumerian times being taken over by another group of extraterrestrials. This, I believe, is the Orion group. They have been at war with each other. This is Moloch. Okay? Moloch with these tiny beings being made to kneel and being stepped on and fought against. And this just said a lot. This said a lot to me. This said that this other group of extraterrestrials showed up and took over the show. And that this is where it all stemmed from, these extraterrestrials fighting over control of humanity and the earth, which over thousands of years turned into this elite secret society that have been either worshiping the good aliens who've been here trying to help us, or the evil aliens who've been coming here to rule us in the dark and eat human beings and use us as slaves.
These people are cannibals, or these things are cannibals, folks.
Well, they're cannibals, yes, but to eat us, they're not cannibals, but I know that they eat their own kind too. So yes, they are cannibals, but they're eating sentient life forms,
right?
Which is very not okay with me because I have a voice and I'm able to say, no, we're not food. So,
but people have to become as enlightened as you with the research to be able to say no, because otherwise they have no idea this is going on.
Well, that's why I wrote at the top of the Nazca lines when I solved them, we demand freedom or death, because I knew that the elite, the governments of the world, the aliens all out there would see this, see my work, and they would read my message back to them. We demand freedom or death. Because I knew what the Orion group was doing. I knew what the satanic group was doing. They were coming here and they were harvesting human beings. Okay? This elite secret society craziness has been feeding the aliens' children, and that's why we've been kept all in the dark about the extraterrestrials this whole time. And these little beings are found all throughout every culture. Japanese, I believe they're called the leprechauns in Ireland. Here they are in the Native American. Here they are in Africa with the Dogon tribe. Now, this is very interesting because the Dogon tribe has their headpieces look like the little beings. And what they said was that they come from Sirius B. And I believe that's where these beings come from, Sirius. We're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the edge of them actually coming down and going, hi, how's it going?
Yeah, and they are.
Here's the Hittites. There's the Buddha sitting with the gods in the Hittites culture, which is very interesting to see the Buddha in there. Let's see what else is going on here. How about Phil Schneider? He said that an alien, he saw aliens down in the deep underground military underground, and one of the aliens rubbed its chest, and a blue beam came out and hit him and opened him up. Well, that's very interesting because the Nazca alien mummies have metal implants in their hands and chest. And I believe that's their alien weaponry. And the reason why all the hands have been removed was to render their weapons inoperable. That's why they cut off all their hands.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was in 2018, because I was being ignored, for 2 weeks I was like, hey, showing everybody all my evidence, and they were just ignoring me. And after 2 weeks, I realized they were ignoring me, which led me on an attack. So I started attacking them with the evidence. I attacked NASA. I attacked the Joint Chiefs of Staff on Twitter. I attacked the U.S. Navy. I attacked the White House. And I was posting these images of all these extraterrestrials all over their, Twitter account.
Right.
And
they know this is real, but they want to cover it up. So they
right.
ignore it.
Well, they want it covered up because they've been secretly trading the extraterrestrials' children for technology this whole time.
Yeah.
Which got to the point of, well, the only way to cover this all up is to just exterminate humanity and enslave them. That's what this almost came to. I wish I wasn't kidding, but it's absolutely true. I found pyramids at the bottom of the ocean off the coast of Connecticut that align to the Palladian star system. I won't tell where that location is because I'm still waiting for funding, to go down there and make sure that they're down there before I, give out a location, because I want to make this claim,
Right.
I think it may be actually the lost city of Atlantis, but it's off the coast of Connecticut in the Long Island Sound. believe it or not. So, yeah, I'm waiting for some serious funding to get out there, get down to the bottom of the ocean to see for sure.
Now, how can people contribute to you and help this funding up?
Yeah, absolutely. The top of my website of the orionlines.com is a Patreon, a GoFundMe, a Cash App, a Zella. Any contributions, I'm in desperate need of funding. If you see my work as value for the people of the world, please help me with this research. I'm in desperate need of funding. I'm in desperate need of acknowledgement and not necessarily acknowledgement, but just getting the information out there. My book here is for free.
Right.
And I made it for free because I knew how important this was to the world. So please share the book, share the website with your friends. Tell them that, this is really, I'm very dead on about my research, and anything that you can do, I'd be greatly appreciated. I also found pyramids in the Amazon. Now, the reason why I'm keeping these locations secret was because I was ignored after solving the Nazca lines. So I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm like kind of holding it hostage. How about the bags? What's in the bag? I know what's in the bag. Seeds. Seeds are in the bag. And I got that from the Aztec connection. The Aztec, the man dressed like a god dropping seeds into the earth. And I realized, hey, where did he get that seeds or those seeds? Oh, the bag. That's what they were doing. They were coming here seeding the earth. That's what's in the bags. That's what's they're I want to say like genetic, bags, genosis. I don't know, but that's what they were doing. They were coming here seeding the earth with life and human beings. So that's what they are. A Trantiloid, which is a insect-like being in the Sumerian culture, being under arrest. A communicator device, and you can see clearly the other being is acknowledging. That's what the hand up is. So, there are many realizations in the book, and they've been fighting over humanity, and that's what God and the devil really are. Demons and angels. Well, they called them that because they didn't have anything else to
refer to them as.
They didn't understand what they were dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they made up these words like angels and demons to explain, to explain what they were. And they are throughout all of the Christian art. There are always two of them fighting each other above. Why are there UFOs in Catholicism?
Yeah.
Why? So why are they everywhere? Why are they in almost every single? Well, that's because that they are God. Okay, we've just been badly lied to into thinking that God was more of a mystical being rather than a group of super intelligent extraterrestrials who made us, like we clone, animals or have the ability to clone things. Well, and that's what's been going on here.
And they're fighting a war amongst themselves over our dominion, over our territory.
Yeah, exactly, yes. And that's what's been going on here for thousands of years. But for a very long time, they've been working at a balance with each other.
Right.
They've been at peace with each other. But now they're all revealed, and this is why they call it revelation. What does revelation mean? Revealing the truth. And it's okay. I mean, you just can't look past the evidence. The truth is that these, I'm kind of going to push past a lot of this stuff.
And even though you were doing that for time constraints, folks, please go to his website. I mean, he's only touching the tip of the iceberg here. You've got a lot to learn. His book, free download, contribute to him, help him expose this. It's very important. But he's giving you a lot of free content on here and a lot of valuable information.
Oh yeah, basically I figured out the whole thing. And the book is just full of evidence. But here's the deal. These people who've been protecting the Holy Bible have been also dressing themselves with pedophilic code language on their robes.
On the robes.
With this demonic looking like statue in the back there. Why?
I had somebody tell me they visited the Vatican recently, and they came out. Actually, they said every time they go there, it's been more than one time, and they come out of there, they're sick to their stomach. They do not feel like they're in a holy place at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they built it in the shape of a snake.
Yeah.
Why? Why would Q say symbolism will be their downfall, accompanied with a picture of one of their churches in the Vatican that it looks just like a snake with the teeth and everything?
Yeah.
It's sick. Okay, these people are sick. These people have been worshiping the devil, and they've been protecting the holy book, and they knew all about the aliens. They knew all about what they were doing. This is the burden the Pope is carrying while walking through the blood. He knew that the extraterrestrials were ruling Earth, and they called it night first. That was the deal. Now, I think the reason why they called it night first was to, instead of fighting each other, they would make a deal until humanity woke up, had the technology, and was able to stand up on our 2 feet. And this is why Jesus is coming with the sword. And yes, Jesus is coming for real. It's not like the Christ mind, but his physical self is actually slipping through the time stream right now. It's just technology. It's extremely advanced technology. So what these people have been doing at night first has been running a pedophile ring, fooling the public, tricking the people into thinking that these people are good people, and and they knew all about the aliens, and they kept it secret from us. And I can just say there's just so much evidence that we have been lied to, and we are being lied to, and it's got to stop. It's got to end. So that's what the elite thought was going to happen. They thought that Agenda 21 was going to happen, and that was going to kill everybody off.
Now it's Agenda 2030. Are they pushing it back?
Yes, it's Agenda 30. Well, I believe we're going to go to war with Orion, but I'm not sure yet. But I believe it's going to be a nuclear war that's going to wipe out humanity, most of humanity.
Yeah.
Which brings into play the real reason of the Georgia Guidestones. That's not the New World Order. Well, there is a New World Order, and there will be a New World Order that happens, and it will become not as a negative thing, but as a positive thing. Now, many people have been very against it because we've all been brainwashed into thinking this society that we have now is so wonderful. But meanwhile, they've been running around in the background. They built us a prison, and we were just about to be taken over by extraterrestrials. Okay, and they were going to harvest people, and they were going to enslave humanity. That's where this system that we're currently living in almost brought us to. And this is why Q is happening, and why Q happened, and why all these people in the deep state are revealed for treason, for collusion, for setting humanity up for a takeover by these extraterrestrials. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But that's the book, and most of the book. It goes on and on and on. There's just so much information. It's so hard to. It's been so difficult trying to make it straight for people to really understand.
Right.
But I can tell you for sure that, yes, extraterrestrials are real. And what was going to happen was we were about to all be invaded, most of us harvested, and the remaining few used as slaves. That almost happened until 2018, when there was a coup in the military where they, and this was going to happen.
And this was right over Washington, D.C., was it not?
What?
Or yeah, the military, when the military had their confrontation.
Yes. Well, no. What happened was, this was leaked that there was on December 7th, 2018, there was an unprecedented amount of activity at Area 51. That lizard people were coming out of the desert. And I was like, holy shit, really?
Right.
And 12 days later, this Pentagon pyramid showed up. This gigantic pyramid-shaped craft. We have 4 different perspectives of the vehicle above the Pentagon. This can all be seen at my website, theorionlines.com. And what I realized is that, oh my God, it's the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill. And thanks to people like Chet Hanks here, Tom Hanks' son, with his tattoos, revealing that the all-seeing eye comes from Orion, this allowed me to not only know that they come from Orion, but rename the all-seeing eye to the Orion Eye. They're the aliens from Orion. They've secretly been ruling over humanity, using humanity as a livestock.
And they shove it in our faces with these symbols. They really do. They're telling us this.
Yeah, it made me this tattoo allowed me to figure out what Alpha and Omega really meant. Alpha Draconian and Omega Orion.
Yeah.
And the Caduceus, which means adrenochrome. That's on every single doctor medical insignia. That's because these rich elite assholes knew all about what the aliens were doing here. They've been worshiping them. They've been worshiping these nasty beings who've been coming here for thousands of years, eating, harvesting human beings. So they won't be able to walk down the street. Yeah, they won't be, because they've been worshiping these people eating aliens. And that's what they are, people eating aliens, not they're aliens who've been eating people. Now, I knew they were a satanic force because these people came out and said never-ending astral vampire. And this is Marilyn Manson. This is the lead singer of Tool. His new album was going to be called Invasion, Prepare to be Abducted, which told me they knew about Agenda 21, that Agenda 21 was for sure going to be a takeover and a real extraterrestrial invasion. We were almost invaded by aliens.
No.
Okay? We were almost enslaved and taken over by hostile extraterrestrial group who've been coming here adrenochrome harvesting children. So that almost happened until the United States military double-crossed them.
Yeah. Well, we are out of time, but I'm going to, like I said, we're going to make this available as part of the free portion of the program to everybody. We'll have you back on again, maybe next week, Ryushin, after the disclosure comes out, to see what our government says about this, and then we'll bring you into the picture. And in the meantime, folks, download the book. Go to theorionlines.com.
Well, can I tell you guys? Can I tell you something real? Can you give me a minute? Just
one
more
minute.
minute.
Sure.
So what I think is going to happen is that there's going to be a fake alien invasion. Alien invasion. Now, this will do many things. This will enable the military to allow access into these deep state people, which might catch the deep state.
Yeah.
This will also bring the public aware of the aliens. Oh, they're here. They're real. Okay. And then 2, they're a threat when they start attacking us. Now, both of those are true. Aliens are real and they are a threat. So it makes sense. Also, the military has complete control over it.
Yeah.
Introduce Space Force shows up, saves the day. Aliens are a threat. And that's how I think this is going to happen. But let me tell you, it's not going to be something simple. You can't just sit there and go, oh, it's just a fake alien invasion. Good luck telling that to mom and dad.
No.
When they're watching the news, watching aliens.
After all these years of believing that probably that aliens didn't even exist, right. Now we're going to get this, and it's going to be hard to convince them that it's a fake invasion. After all
it's going to be impossible. You won't be able to do it. And even though they might have many different elements happening, not just Project Bluebeam of holograms and whatever, but actual physical, maybe even physical beings involved in this. So, but this is going to lead to a lot of problems. This is going to lead to chaos, and it's going to be the people that are panicking and afraid. That's the problem. So I'm just warning you guys right now, even if it's a fake alien invasion, it's going to scare the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
And that's going to create problems for the rest of us who are like, that's fake, whatever. Yeah, no. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to panic. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think the fake alien invasion is going to capture the deep state, who is planning a real invasion for us.
Yep, I agree. I believe me, you nailed it. And
I have all the evidence.
Yeah. Let me let you. I gotta let you fly. But let me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And like I said, I want to have you back. Next week. And let's talk about this after this disclosure, and we'll give you a little bit more time, and because I think it's important. Today my back's up against the clock, but it's important that you came on. So we'll do it again next week, and everybody will be able to see this one.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, David.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. Ryushin Sean Malone, theorionlines.com is his website. Thank you very much, and we will bring him back again next week. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and when we do, we're going to be talking with Michelle Stefanik, and we're going to be discussing the Benghazi, 9/11, and much, much more. Stick around.